Good morning, Flosstube. Welcome back on this Sunday, May the 4th, aka Star Wars Day for the Star Wars aficionados out there. May the 4th be with you. My name is Stuart, and welcome back to my stitching update this week from the central belt of Scotland, looking out the window at the glorious blue sky, which totally belies the outside temperature, which is not matching what I would hope for when I see skies like that. However, it's not been too bad last week, and the forthcoming week promises to be good as well, so we'll take what we get. This is Flosstube number 22 already. So here I am back with you again. First of all, welcome to all my returning viewers. It's so lovely to spend time with you on a Sunday morning as I do my recording and think of you getting ready with your stitching for the day and how this might pop up in your algorithm saying, oh, here he is again. Let's see what's going on. To those new people who have stumbled across me, welcome. I hope you do enjoy what I share with you. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. Think about leaving a comment and subscribing. Ring the bell. You'll get notified then when I post. I post on a weekly basis, which I'm enjoying doing. So thank you. What else to tell you in this small intro section? Yes, we mainly talk about cross stitching here. Generally, cross stitching is my main crafting hobby. I'll talk sometimes about bags I make, but some knitting and crocheting I'm doing, but you're getting an escape from that today. The crocheting has been going on, but I haven't brought it upstairs. I can probably show you my blanket next week, because I'm sort of finished a section of my mosaic crochet blanket, Cowboys and Aliens. So that's something to look forward to. Thank you to all who commented on my last video and wished me a happy birthday. That was really kind of you. Thank you for that. I had a lovely day with Carl. I'll show you what he got me. I have a birthday haul to share. I'm calling it birthday haul. I know I'm in a stash band, but it was my birthday, so we have birthday haul, which is great. That was such good fun. What else is there? Yes, if you do want to get in touch with me at all, please comment below. Drop me a comment what's going on, what you're working on while you're watching. Always interested to see that. As I always say, it always sends me scurrying off to the internet to have a wee look and see, oh, that looks fun. I've never heard of that before. There's always some interesting pieces that appear in the comments I've never heard of, and there's some old favourites. It's always nice to hear people are still stitching. You can also get me on Instagram. I post there on a daily basis with my temperature stitching, and usually at the end of the day I'll post what else I've been working on that day. And you can get me on Gmail on stuartsandstitches@gmail.com. Both these links will be in the show notes below. A couple of things. Quite a few people have been mentioning about the volume. I don't know what to do about that. I'm getting mixed reactions to this because I asked a question last week. A fair few of you, most of you actually, are telling me that you're happy with the volume. You can hear me fine, but there are a few coming back saying I seem to be getting quieter and quieter. Never something I've been accused of. Carl's thinking to himself, oh, if only. I'll try and speak up a bit more. Other than that, I don't know what I can do. I'll just have to play it by, if you'll excuse the pun, play it by ear. Most of the questions that cropped up I answered in the commentary when I was reviewing the comments. Carl and I usually at lunchtime we'll have a wee read through the comments. He's always interested to hear what folk are saying, as am I, of course. So, one I didn't answer because I thought I'll just touch on that briefly here. This is from a subscriber called Amy who asked me, do I stitch outside? And if so, how do I cope with the wind? So yes, in the summer I do stitch out in the back garden. We have a bit of decking and there's a couple of bench sets sit there. And the two bench sets comprise a two-seater bench and a wooden seat. And across the arms that are next to each other, there's it's almost like a wooden trellis or a wooden surface that you can place drinks on. That's usually where my gin will live. However, I can also clamp my Lowry stand to that, which is brilliant. I have a desk clamp for my Lowry, which fits that outside as well. So I just clamp my Lowry to that and put my Q-snap in the Lowry and we're good to go because the light outside is excellent. The back garden is a pure sun trap in the summer. And I take something out that I don't need a magnifier for. So at the moment, one of the pieces I'm working on is Eliza Knight from Hands Across the Sea. And I'm stitching that on quite a low will count over 2. I can't remember what the count is now, but I'm using the excuse me, the Debussy wools for that. So it's a green and a red, so that's very easy to see. Other than that, I will stitch a dimensions kit outside, like one of the, not the gold ones, but one of the other ones that are on lower count fabrics, a 14 or a 16, so I can see them fine outside. So that's, I get my stitching fix. Other things I can do outside is I can sit and knit or crochet as well. I tend maybe not so much to do a blanket. I really want to be covering my legs in the sunshine. What else might I do? Oh, I also organise my threads outside. I've got some organisation to do this summer on some of my pip and chip floss combs. I've got stray DMC threads hanging around here, there and everywhere that I need to bring together into one set, so as I know exactly what's there. Nearly now have a full master set from Lakeside. I've got one more instalment to come this month, which I've just paid for, and I have another nearly full set of them from everything that's lying about, and I just need to find out what the gaps are in that. But to do that, I need to pull all these other bits together, so that will be a summer task sitting out in the back garden as well. I love doing these things outside, and I absolutely adore organising floss. It's one of the best and most satisfying things to do for me. Don't know why, but there we are. How do I cope when it's windy? Well, everything's clamped, and depending on the size of my clamp, my Q-snap, I can usually fit the chart or the bit of paper chart onto there with needle minder, so that keeps everything under control. Or I'll just put a weight on it. I can set my phone on top of the bit of paper on the bench beside me, so that I can just look down and see where I'm going next. So it works, and I love doing that outside. So if I'm in the summer, I'll generally stitch outside in the afternoons, and then when Carl disappears for his evening routine before dinner, I will probably sit outside with a book and a gin and enjoy the evening sunshine, and then get the dinner ready. I hope, Amy, that answers you quite comprehensively, I think. So, what are we talking about today? So we have whips, as usual. We have a temperature stitching and some other pieces, and a section finish, which I'm absolutely over the moon about to share with you tonight. That got finished last night at midnight, just about midnight on the dot. My poor eyes, but all will be explained. We have a couple of things from the shelf of surprises. We have haul to talk about, and probably some plans. So, without further ado, let's get showing the stitching. So, temperature stitching. I'll just do a quick recap of what I mean by temperature stitching. My temperature stitching was inspired by Jen, the Caffeinated Crafter, who's always well worth a watch to have your jaw drop at the amazing, incredible amount of whips she has and the humour she shares. Temperature stitching, yes, sorry. I'm just hauling my mind back from this little digression there. So my temperature stitching is, I have 10 projects assigned, numbers 0 to 9. And the temperature that day determines the project that gets 100 stitches. So single digits, it's just 0 to 9, no problem. When we get into double digits, as we are now doing at this time of year, the last digit of the highest temperature of the high forecast for that day, per the BBC weather app, is the one that tells me what piece I work on. So if it's 12, that's number 2, for example. It's as easy as that, nothing complicated. This head doesn't do complicated nowadays. So we got, was there any duplications this week? Let's have a look. Yes, there was a couple. That's alright. So, first off the bat was Fall Fairy from Dimensions. So they're all down by the side, so you just have to bear with me reaching. Fall Fairy, let's get this. Loving the organisation. Look at that, I just shoved in the bag yesterday. So Fall Fairy, it's a Dimensions gold kit, gorgeous one, well known one. And there she is. I started this years ago and then put it to the side, and then I had the brainwave of attaching extra fabric to the side so I could get into snaps and work on it that way without having the snapping curse onto my hand. So I'm over here somewhere. I'm just looking at see what was I working on yesterday. Here, that's the section I'm in. So there's lots of browns I was doing. And I was looking at it thinking, oh, why are all these browns? I'm sure there's no tree here. It's here. Right, where are we? We have a thread hanging from where I stopped yesterday. Normally it's 100 stitches I get in it, or till the thread runs out, or if I get over 100, and I've had enough. Well, I'll just part the thread and call it good for the day. That was obviously the case yesterday. So, this has been stitched on the called for fabric, or the provided fabric with using the called for threads, which is 16 count something. So let's see if it gives me a clue. It does somewhere in this packaging. 16 count grey cottonada. So, here's where we are. And you'll have guessed what I was saying. I've been working over in this hair here, just starting filling all this in. Really good. I do like a dimensions kit. I love all the different textures. And now that I have different size needles, which are to the side of me here, very conveniently. What have we got? Hang on. Just had your horses there. I got myself those from one of my favourite suppliers, Arts and Designs, some time ago. So we've got 22, 24 and 26, I think, is it? No, 20. 20, 22 and 24s. So for the likes of, for example, Aurora Cabin, where you're doing silly numbers of threads going through the fabric, and a size 20 will be good for that. Just open up that hole a wee bit, save me ruining my wrists. God, my stomach's from having a breakfast yet. Hope that didn't come over in the video there. The nether rumbles. Right, so there's where we are. So I was working in these browns and this kind of orangey brown going on here. And this came out twice, so it got what did it get? Hang on, put my show notes away. Oh, yesterday I got 100, and the day before, well, last weekend it got 105, so 205 in total. That's what this got this time round. Which is good, because again, that hasn't seen the light of day till this year for, I think that went away for about 2 or 3 years. It sat on the shelf, which is a great shame. As you can see, calico. Calico is amazing stuff. I use that now for lining my bags. It is magical. And I love the smell of calico. There's something about it. Takes me back to my childhood. Not sure why that is, but there we are. So that was Fall Fairy. Next up we had one of Jacob's pieces. This is AKGIT. One of my... which bag is that? Not that bag. That bag was not... I don't think this piece came out this week. No, I didn't. Ditch that one. It's the fishy bag. Sometimes my bag relate to the projects inside them. 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. Fishy bag. Look at those lovely colours. I should really keep catching rays in this, but I need to do a bigger bag. So, this is a Verlanda sampler from Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery, AKGIT 1833. One day it will look like this. He said one day. I'm not sure when that day will arrive, but hey ho, we just keep plodding along. So this week I finished this motif here. Once that's that one done. So making progress. Every stitch is progress, always forward. So let me show you what that actually looks like. I don't think this fabric is the right size for the piece, and insofar as before we set off the panic and the hair's running, it's way too big, I think. But I've not cut it down. I need to measure it and take a pair of scissors to it, but I don't like taking scissors to my fabric. It scares me. Once you cut it, you're committed. Not that I'm a commitment phobe or anything like that, but well, yes, it's true actually. When we hit August this year, it'll be us 15 years married. Who would have thought? Right, anyway, we'll talk about that come August probably. So, that was the first motif. There's the second one, it's a wee bit rounder. So that's that one now finished as well. But basically what I do is like the typewriter method per motif, or snaking along. You just start at the bottom and go right to left to right to left to right to left till I get to the top. Because it's all one colour. And I've made a start now on the next motif doing just that. So I was very pleased to get that one finished. So temperature stitching has let me finish this one because I was kind of near the top of that, and start and finish this one. This temperature stitching lark, it works, it's really good. I'm very happy with it. Alright, let me just fold this up and put it away. I don't know how it folded. Well, it's going to be folded this way this time. You'll notice I don't bother ironing my projects in between. What you see is what you get. And it's Roxy Flossco I'm using in that one. There we go. Which was the called for, especially coloured for this piece. And it is called Verlanda. So there we go. Now you know. Right. And that's been stitched on a 40-piece count of Vintage Country Mocha from Zweigart. That got AKGIT. I got 116 stitches this week, so good going. The next one was a mistake, but a happy mistake. Felix Culpa, as one would have it. Oh, happy fault. Anybody sang the Exalted at Easter will know what I'm referring. Right, so this was for temperature 0, so there was a 10, no, a 20, We're getting to the, we're getting good this week. What was it this weekend? Let's have a wee look. We got a 17, 20, a 22, 16, 14, and then a 15, and today's a 10. And we've got work in the garden to do today. Hey-ho. Right, here we go. So the 20 indicated a 0, which for me, I thought was History of Chocolate Story Keep, but History of Chocolate Story Keep has already had its 10 outings. It's had 1,000 stitches into it and should really just go back into the normal whip pile. But I forgot, so it came out and it got 1,000 stitches. This is a piece by Randall Spangler off the chart Book of Dreams from Heaven and Earth Designs, charted by Michelle there, and it is a series of book spines with the draglets or the dragonettes on them, looking ever so cute. And they're each separated on the chart. They're each separated by 2 blocks, which is magic because you can then just pick one and stitch it and not worry about crossing over and we're trying to work out where one ends, one starts. And that's exactly what I did. So I'm doing the first one on it, which is called History of Chocolate, which looks like that. Aren't those wee feet cute? I say that every time. And you see his tail curling in. I'm not going to tell you what that makes me think of. I'll get banned from Flosstube for that. Tammy, I'm sure you'll know exactly what I'm referring to. So I was working down here. That's the edge of the pattern there. This is why I love Story Keeps. You can get the full width of the pattern before you blink. So we'll just keep working on that diagonal when the next comes out, which will not be in temperature stitching now. This goes back into kind of the piece of fabric still stays because there's another temperature stitching piece on it on the other side. Another Story Keep, but a very wide Story Keep. So that's now officially replaced. So the next time 0 comes up, which is today, but I'm not sure I'm going to get to my temperature stitching today. We'll see later on. It's going to be, I think it's a Country Cottage Needleworks one, or Little House Needleworks, called Love Lives Here. I think if I recall right, I'll just finish off some of the board and then I get into the fun part in the middle. So that was that one. That got 214 stitches. Then we had Cardinal Kin. This was a Plum Street sampler piece. Or still is a Plum Street sampler piece. Not sure why I put that in the past tense. So, I have my label for my fabric. This is a West Green Love Yarns linen from their October club last year, 2024, yeah, last year. It's called Chalk and it's a 32 count piece. The Cardinal Kin looks like that. I'm using all the called for threads, which is a mixture of overdyed and DNC. And we're cracking along nicely on this. Oh, let's see, there's a needle minder on it. Oh, that was to hold the chart, probably. Given I've got the needle minder, the needle itself embedded in the fabric, let's just put the needle minder to its proper use, shall we? There. What's that? Why is it? Oh, that's for the... I'm looking at the thread here. I probably wonder what I'm talking about. I'm looking at the thread here, think, why is that attached to the side? But it's because it's for the border, for the next get to the border. So, without further ado, let's have a wee look and see where Stuart got to. There we are. So we finished off this. Last time you saw this, I'd just done the black insert in that leaf. So that leaf got finished, and we made a start on his wife. There's a nice kind of muted colour there. And there's a wee baby going to appear up top eventually. And this ultimately will be turned into a cushion with a chenille trim. Because you all sent me off to look at various videos on how to do such a thing. So there was Helen Duffy, and there was Vonna. I think they were the two key ones. Vonna the Twisted Stitcher. I just love that name for a Flosstube channel. And she's so nice, there's nothing twisted going on. Right. And that got, Caramel King got 112. Right. The next piece that came out to play was, I'm going to have to duck under my desk to grab this one. Ooh. I forgot to pull this out and organise my needle minder on it. This is my Tom of Finland piece. Tom of Finland was a homoerotic artist from Finland, and a company in Australia called Perler got hold of some of his charts. I think it was for an anniversary year in relation to Tom of Finland, and charted the shipwrecked stories. Desert story about a desert island. There's been a shipwreck. There's a guy living on the desert island, and one of the sailors manages to swim to shore, and they get fairly well acquainted, shall we say. Let me just move my needle minder. I really don't want to get banned. There, that's fine. So here we are, and I was working, just filling in some of this white just for some easy stitching one day when I was doing it, and coming along and just start filling in this gap along here now as well, just gradually bringing it up. We're nearly at the top of the first half of the project. This went to temperature stitching because it's great. That's a great fun piece of stitching. Carl loves it, but it's all these shades. It's not monochrome, but it's kind of just shades of greys and black and white. So colour-wise, it's not that exciting to stitch. I love working with colours. However, we're plugging away, and that got 100 stitches. So yeah, I timed that one very well when I came to the end of the black, obviously. Right, let me just put this chart back on it, or the chart will disappear, never to be seen again. Right, there we go. I can sit down there to go away when we're finished. And I got 100 stitches, and I think that covers the temperature stitching this week. So, pair the diary. There we go. I love doing this year. It's been good. It's nice to look back and just see what I've been stitching on as the year goes on. And other notes and I put in of things that might have been happening. Like, for example, Carol, I see on Friday there, Carol started painting our back fence. He did mention, the fence. He came in to me one day and they said the fence needs painting. I said, oh, that's good. Knock yourself out. I'll get the paint. And he just muttered and grumbled, but fair play to him. He started. So that's good. He did it the last time, which was I was looking back, seeing the last bought paint, which was about 4 or 5 years ago. I don't do this painting thing outside. That's just no my bag. And he's got the patience for it. He'll just sit there and work away at it quite happily, and does a cracking job. So it's got lovely bright colours. So he started on one side. We only bought 3 2.5 litre tins of paint. That's just about what he told me he wanted. And then I looked back and I thought, oh, we used 5 litre tins last time, and we used a lot of 5 litre tins the last time. So there has been more ordered. So some more's coming today. So he's going to make a start in the back fence, and the one that runs around the back of our house, and then the other one up the side, and then the rest of the paint's coming next Thursday. So gives us time. So today we're going to be out in the back garden, hauling out most of the stuff that's in the back border, just so as he gets a free run of the back panel. Apart from, I've got a clematis and a jasmine at one corner, which I've nursed along for about 4 or 5 years now, and they are tremendous there. So I've said, no, there's no way they're coming out. So we're just going to try and pull them forward a bit so as he can get in behind. We'll see how that works. I mean, if I have to chop them down a bit, that's fine. But we'll see how we go on. But I like to know that kind of thing down, or if I get significant finishes on my projects. And we're rabbiting and digressing. What are we talking about next? We're talking about more whips. So, you'll remember last week I gave out the results from the voting on which new coverage piece I should start, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen I started, but then I got sidetracked by the next piece I'm going to show you after this. However, I'm quite pleased with. I'm very pleased with my start on this. So this that I am talking about. Hang on a second. Just get my tablet to hand. This which we are talking about is Rainbow Castle, charted by Earth Designs. The artwork is by Sierra Marchetti. The mock-up looks like that. Lovely, lovely bright colours, isn't it? Or it will be when I get there. I'm down here in this kind of flowery stuff that's going on in the bottom. No surprise there. My normal starting point. And this week I managed to put in 1,160 stitches, which I was really pleased with, out of 406,450, which gives me 0.29% complete. And there's a ton of part threads in this, by the way, as you will see in a minute when I turn it round. So this has been stitched on 28 count even weave 1/1 full cross using CXC threads. This was kitted up way back in 2019 and never started. And here's where we are. So lots of colour changes in this, as you can see by the number of part threads, but it's lovely, lovely, lovely blues, pinks and purples and some dark reds going on there. You can see, I can actually see wee flowers in it now when I look at it through this. I'm brightening up a wee bit there, that's good. So very pleased with that. So I'll probably stay out for another couple of days or so. That scratched my new start for a full coverage itch. All good. And the other thing this week that I worked on was Anne Morrison. This was a collaboration between Hands Across the Sea in the UK and Traditional Stitches, who I think are Canadian based. This was started way back in 2020. You heard right, 2020. This is what she's going to look like when she's finished. Anne Morrison Kirk 1830. She was 14 years old as we lassie when she stitched this. This is a Scottish sampler. You can tell by the kind of the motifs, the huge amount of initials, and the eyelets, the Algerian eyelets. So that's why this is started in 2020, and it's still a whip. It was very nearly a UFO. It was in time out for about 3 years because that and that are all Algerian eyelets. This wee band that you see here is Algerian eyelets, and this alphabet is all Algerian eyelets. There are a ton of Algerian eyelets in this piece, and I'm stitching it on. This is my first ever attempt at working on a higher count fabric. This has been stitched in 45 count linen, and just to add to that piece of joy, it's very tightly woven. And these eyelets are 16-legged eyelets, so it's every stitch in this every hole in the square on the perimeter of the square is used. Oh, that is such fun! It sounds easy, but oh, that is such fun to try and see. However, oh well, now. Last night I always had a head of steam going because I got them all done. I was so pleased. I nearly danced to bed last night. Midnight it was. I'd put the last one in, and I could not believe it. I thought, oh, they're all done now. All that's left now is just. I'm saying all. There's still quite a bit to go in this lassie, but all that's left now is just the cross stitch. So here we are. Would you look at that? So this week I worked. Well, I did this. Did this cross stitch here. These initials here, JMWM, and this flower motif. Then I did the AM and the full stop at the end there, which are all Algerian eyelets, and that was further complicated by the fact that it alternates colours. I'd finished, I think at that time I showed you, I'd finished this red band, which are again are eyelets, and then all I had left was I, J, K, and this X here. So I did the I. I'd finished the M yesterday morning, So I did the eye at some point in the late afternoon, and then last night after dinner, I just sat down and worked these in because I thought, let's see if I can get this finished tonight. So I thought, and I can show it tomorrow, and I'll be so chuffed. And I did, and I am. Aren't they lovely? It was so well worth the pain. Quite literally, the pain made my eyes were screwed. And at the moment, I've got a dodgy shoulder, and there's a muscle comes over the top of the trap, your upper traps, and that's giving me severe jip just now. And working that last night did not help any of that in the slightest. However, what we do for our art. I don't want to lose this size 10 needle. And that's another joy, using a size 10 needle. So you get the thread through that eye. That causes a wee bit of swearing. Right, so absolutely tickled pink to have that done. So now I can finish this border. There's a pale blue border. Now you can just see it there. Pale blue border running along, and then we're into letters with curlicues, which will be nice because it's just cross stitch. Oh, at last. I thought I'd never get this piece finished. But I'm so glad I've persevered. And there's a Facebook group, Friends of Hands Across the Sea Samplers, and the ladies in there have been so kind and so encouraging to keep me going in this, so it's been great. So I'll probably get a wee bit more attention this week just to get the cross stitch in there. So that's the whips this week. So it's temperature stitching and 2 other, a full coverage and a sampler. So that was fun. Right. Where are we going next? As he looks at his list. I was going to show you something, but I can't. You can go looking. So, I haven't got any finishes to show you this week. I think I've shown you everything that's on my finish shelf at the moment. I need to have a rummage through. I think you're caught up to date with that one. But when I opened Instagram this morning, as one does, you like to have a wee scroll through your wee feed there. There was a glorious finish was on it. If you watch Amy, the Globetrotting Stitcher, she has a section for fancy ladies, and she's been working in Rose of Sharon from Mirabilia, and she finished it yesterday. So she's washed and ironed it, and she posted it on Instagram, and it came up in my feed this morning. Oh, it looks stunning. If you want a quick fix of Mirabilia, just go and look at Amy's finish on there for the Globetrotting Stitcher. She chose lovely fabric and absolutely pops on it. This is not a paid for feature at all by Amy. Nothing. It was just when I saw it this morning, I thought, oh, that is so well worth commenting on. Give it the glory it deserves. So that's the finish section. It's not mine. It's Amy's. So go and have a look. It's lovely. Well worth seeing. Right. So you may remember we have a section, the Cupboard of Doom, which is now morphed into the Shelves of Surprises. There's still a couple of things in the cupboard that I need to haul out, but because I didn't finish Anne last night until about midnight, I didn't get into the cupboard to hunt out a bag, so I try and do that the night before. So I've hauled a couple of things off the Shelf of Surprises to share with you today. And it's well named because these are pieces that, again, they might be in semi-transparent bags, but because they're up on a shelf, I forget I've got them. So we have here, this is an old Mirabilia. There's a nice segue into Mirabilia there. I think this is out of print now. This is Sleeping Beauty. I'm greedy here. I've got 2 copies of the chart. Oh, that's right. A friend, Gail, I think, sold me a copy of the chart once. Not a copy, she sold me a chart, the original. But just before we get up in arms over that, was an original chart. No, she sold me an original chart that she had in her stash that she wasn't stitching or had stitched. So Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty looks like this. It's a very well known one. Much sought after nowadays, I think. So on eBay one day I found a kit going remarkably cheap. I thought, oh, including the chart. There's the second chart. The second chart's lost its picture. So, but there we go. And I thought, well, I'll be having that because it came with the threads as well. I thought, that's great. And the beads. The bead pack going on there. Lots of nice blues actually. So, but the threads, I don't know what these threads are. It's the right colours, and they're numbered with the DMC numbers. I'm suspecting they're probably Chinese or CXC or some such, I imagine. They feel like it. But It was ridiculously cheap, because that chart I think sells for an arm and a leg these days. So I thought, well, we'll try these, because if I don't like these threads, I don't usually use CXC for my non-full coverage pieces. So I'm just getting the air out of that bag. That's the other one. So all the colours are there. I don't usually use CXC for my non-full coverage pieces. I usually use DMC or what's the other one? Royal Broderie, which I get from Lindsay at Blushing Pink Stitches. For my things like the fancy ladies. But we'll have a look at these and see what I think. If not, they'll go to my CXC stash. They will not go to waste. Trust me. I've not met a thread yet. So that was nice to see that bag again. It's like I say, I feel like the cobbler's children. I make all these project bags, but I've done for myself. And then the other one, this I think is, if I recall correctly, this is inspired by Garrett, Coffee Stitcher, who sadly no longer posts on Flosstube, but he is back on Instagram under Coffee Stitcher, so you can still see his stitching there. He was one of my early Flosstubes that I watched. I always enjoyed keeping up with Garrett on a Sunday night. And this piece is called Diamond Avenue. And you still like it. I remember him showing this and I thought, well, I like that because I love buildings. I love stitching buildings. So I went off to hunt that and see what I could find, and lo and behold, there it was. So it comes with a piece of white Aida, which may or may not get used. Bog standard white Aida, and I might just swap that out for something from my stash. 14 count Aida, and then there's a reason this hasn't been started. There's the reason. These have all got to be sorted. So that might be a task outside in the summer in the sunlight. Just to get them into order. I mean, it's not too bad. I can see colour differences there, so we'll see how it goes. I'll take my master set out with me just for comparison. I really should get us one of those the DMC floss cards. I should treat myself to that one day for things like that. Anyway, so there's that. So that's lined up for a start at some point. I think that'll be good fun to stitch. It's lovely colours again. So it does pop in the white, so I might do it in the white. I'm not a fabric snob. Quite the opposite. I'll stitch in anything. If it's regular counted, I'll stitch in it. I'll give it a fair crack. I started in Aida, so no shame in Aida. I love it. It's actually really nice to work with and easy to see. Then you get hand dyed on it as well, which is good. So yeah, I stitch in anything me. So I'm busy looking at Anne Morris, keep admiring those eyelets. I can't quite believe I've got them finished. Who would have thought? Right. No, I didn't write giveaway on this thing. So we'll talk about giveaway now though, because I have them to the side of me. So there were 2 giveaways to be done. 2 keywords were to be mentioned. So the first off that again, this is what's this called? Our Rainy Manchester. A nice tram car there. Caught out in the rain. So I found, after interrogating a couple of my stitching YouTube friends on what type of random comment picker, Amanda, thank you, I found one that worked with my videos, and Carl and I did this last night after dinner in the evening. So he did the spins, so totally unbiased. I just set it up with the link for the video, and he did the keywords, and we got 2 answers. So for Manchester, we got 18 people were interested in Manchester, and the lucky winner of that was Sheila Jameson 2483, who was telling me her partner, when it suggested that he lives in Manchester, always corrects people to say he stays in Stockport. So there's obviously a subtle difference there that maybe escapes a few of us. So Sheila, congratulations, well done. You're the lucky winner of the Our Rainy Manchester. So if you want to get in touch with me, either send me an email or direct message me on Instagram. Let me have your address. I'll arrange to get this into the post to you. I just need to get I need to visit Amazon or a local station and get some envelopes that's going to fit this, and I'll get that sent off to you. The other piece Where the hell did my sticker go? This also got 18 votes. How coincidental. This is another anchor kit. The Born to Shop range. It's called Save the Earth, and it says Save the Earth is the only planet with chocolate. A very commendable sentiment. So 18 of you are interested in that piece, and the lucky winner of this is Katina's Creations 4825, who was telling me she always stitches with chocolate at her side. I just hope it never lands on your stitching, dear. So there we go, Katina's Creations 4825. Congratulations, Katina, you're the lucky winner of that. And again, if you get in touch with me either over email or DM on Instagram and share with me your address, I'll arrange to get that posted out to you. So, thank you to all who entered. Thanks for taking part. Always love the engagement in the comments. I can't tell you how much that means. Engaging with the community, with all you who turn up and watch my videos, my ramblings and my stitching and all that good stuff. Always enjoy the comments. It's great fun. Always enjoy kind of the first couple of days after I've uploaded my video, and there's a whole raft of comments fall in. Fabulous. Love it, love it, love it. Right, where are we next? So we're on haul. This is our rare section these days. Magical. Love it again. So where shall we start? Right. It's all, well, it's nearly all birthday stuff. Hang on, just to get it over before we have a disaster. So non-birthday stuff first, I think. And then I'll tell you stories about haul for those of you who are maybe new or have forgotten. For those of you who've heard it before, sorry. Right, so I'm just getting some fluff off this piece of fabric that came from my fabric of the month. This is fabric from Crafty Kate, one of my fabrics of the month. I think I'm up to date with this one now. Yes, oh no, this is Sparklies, sorry. Kate got this out just in the nick of time at the end of March, at the end of April rather. I've switched over to opalescent because who doesn't need opalescent fabric in their lives? And this is what came this month. It's a, oops, stray thread. This is a fat quarter, lovely fat quarter. You see the sparkle there. I'm being converted to this. I'm loving the sparkly fabric. Just call me Jackdaw. So that came in this week. Very pleased with that. Poor Kate, she's had some bad news about her workshop just now, so I think there's going to be a delay for a wee while till she sorts out what's going on. I think there's drainage problems she was sharing with us on Facebook there. So just wait to see how that's going to get sorted out. And the next thing that came in is, you may recall last year I'd signed up for Silks for You's seasonal Silks Club, so spring, summer, autumn, winter. They come out every quarter, and I eventually, because I forgot, got around to paying for this quarter's. I got in touch with Jo saying, sorry, I forgot to pay. Can I catch up now? And she was very kind and said, yes, I can. So they arrived. Michelle, Mama Loves You GB, thank you for the reminder when you showed yours. I thought, where are mine? And then I thought, oh, I never paid. That's why they're not here. So a cute wee needle minder. You know, it's got something in the pack. Wee bunny. And then some glorious, absolutely glorious silks. Wait to see these babies. So let's see what we've got first. So these are, some are from the range and others are for spring and for the spring pack. So we've got these two lovelies, a nice green and a yellow, a creamy yellow. Beautiful. A sort of variegated teal thing going on here. Again, beautiful. Lovely pink. Pink to make the boys wink. Never works. Trust me. Don't ask me how I know. There's a nice variegated one. That's going to be fun to use on something. I've seen a long dog peccadillo in there. And then a nice pink variegation. And all together, see if I can get these. You get something like, I don't know if I can get them. You get something like that going on. He says, can you see everything? No, you can't see everything because I just dropped one, didn't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go, that's better. What a lovely, lovely palette. You can do so much with that. These curls going up and down remind me of the dome in Edinburgh at Christmas. For those of you who might know the dome in George Street when they put the Christmas lights up around the pillars. Anyway, glorious colours. And it's such a great deal, this. It's 45 metres in each of these skeins or hanks, whatever you want to call them. 45 metres, so there's 6 of those, that's 270 metres. And in sterling, that works out with postage. I think it was about 45 or 46 pounds sterling with the exchange rate just now. So it's a great deal, great bargain. So I'm very pleased with that. Then we start moving into the birthday haul. This is justification time. So stash ban. Last year at the end of the year, a dear stitching friend of mine, whom I see on a regular basis, had decided she was taking a break from men. There was going to be no dating for about 5 months, and this was announced at a day where a few of us were all together. I was just busy stitching away, listening to the crack going on round about me, minding my own business as one does. So she was going on about this and sort of castigating the male sex and all that, as the ladies sometimes do. And I thought, oh well, I'll just let this float over my head. And then all of a sudden my ears pricked up because I heard my name being mentioned. I thought, what gives? What's going on? I've not said anything. And I said, oh, Stuart could join you in this. Stuart could do a stash ban. I thought, why would somebody say that? Why? Who have I upset? But manning up, I said, yes, I'll do that. I'll do this in support. So we've been good for most of this, I think. We're nearly at the end of it. We're now in May, so the end is in sight. However, it was my birthday. I thought, okay, stash ban and no stash ban is my birthday. I'm having a treat. So I figured I could get away with that. So last week in my video, I'd mentioned about 3 Teresa Wenzel unicorn charts I'm desperate to get my hands on. So there was Trade Winds, there was The Fortunate Traveller, that's the one where it's a dragon and a man in the top half, and then a story in words in the bottom, and a most gorgeous border all the way around. And there was a third, Lady of Shalott. So they're all well, one has now been removed, but they were all on my eBay watching for kits that come out. I know they do crop up occasionally. I know I can buy the patterns for these on Patterns Online, as a lady had suggested to me in the comments, which was very kind. That's a good fallback solution for me. But ideally, I'd like to get these kits, the Janel and their Leisure Crafts kits for them one day. So one of my subscribers, a lady called Jo, got in touch with me over email and said, I've got Trade Winds I'm not going to stitch if you want to buy it. I'm happy to sell that to you. I says, I'm happy to buy that. So after a wee bit of to and fro and just what was involved, what was included and what wasn't, and pinning down with the fabric and all that, we agreed on a price, and that arrived yesterday. We have Trade Winds. Trade Winds is in the house. So pleased. I'm absolutely tickled pink with this. Love the blues in this, and that Cutty Sark sailing ship. Love the alphabet. Although I've seen, I was scrolling Facebook the other day, I did a search for it, since a guy has stitched this, but he's replaced this alphabet, but in the same style as the lettering there, with a nice sentiment or verse around sailing away, which I might do, because he's put it up for free on his website, so I might go and have another look for that. But it's a lovely chart, so Jo, thank you so much for thinking of me and allowing me to buy this from you. Comes with all the threads, nice piece of 28 count cream fabric. Threads don't look organised, but they are. They're organised in these cards here, so I can get that sorted out. The only thing it's missing was the beads, but it's gold beads 40557. Who doesn't have gold beads 40557 in their stash? If you're a fast lady stitch or anything like that, you'll have a ton of them left over, so there was that. And my other treat to myself, I seem to be in sampling mode just now for some reason. Not quite sure where that's come from. It's been a while since I've picked up my samplers, but Anne Morrison has got me inspired. So Hands Across the Sea every year do a Queen of the May, and this year's Queen of the May 2025 is called Elizabeth Stevenson 1854. So, guess what I indulged myself in? There she is. And this is all cross stitch. There's no eyelets. It's just all cross stitch. Some of it is as Nicola mentioned, some of it is off count insofar as it's all 2/2, well, or 1/2 depending on the count and the threads you choose. But it's over 2, but some of those over 2s might be off by 1 thread. But that's fine, as long as you wear that when you're stitching, you're good. But it's lovely, very nice border, lovely colour palette going on there. And because I ordered it through the friends group on Facebook, I got 2 fabric panels with it as well, which I can use to make a project bag. So there's this one. So that can be on the front and inset into the front. And just do some bordering around this sashing that's on it. Make it up to the right size for me. I don't know what size that is actually. Hang on, trusty tape measure. Let's sort that question out right now. So it's 9 inches square by the look of it. Oh no, it's not. It's 9 inches by 9.5. So that's fine. I can put some stuff around the side of it to make it up to the normal size of a bag that I make. And then you get a smaller one. You get his wee brother or wee sister, who knows? And it is 7 by 7.25 roughly. So again, that could be turned into a wee notions pouch. And we all like a wee coordinating set, don't we? So that was nice to get with it. I also got with it a lovely, lovely card. And a nice bookmark stitch keep thing to detailing who it's stitched by, my address, when it started, when it's finished. Oh haha, how we laughed. What I used, stitch count, any funny stitches in, did I make any alterations, and then on the other side is a key. So it's keyed for Soie 103, Soie d'Argent and a DNC. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to do this on a 40 or 46 count using the Soie 103s, because Anne Morrison with the Soie 103s is an absolute joy. Fair enough for skipping past the eyelets, but stitching with that 103 silk, that's the first time I've used it, is on this. Ah, it's an absolute joy. Love it. Converted. I mean, it's a wee bit expensive, however, so worth it. So I've reached out to Faubles in the UK just to see what it would cost to kit the threads up for that. I have fabric in my stash I'll probably use, but that was my birthday treat to myself. So I got some money for my birthday from a couple of people, which was very nice, and I topped that off with some of my own stash money that I've been putting aside and treated myself. So if you're watching, the lady in question who I've deliberately not named, I hope you don't mind and that you will forgive me when we meet next. And then the next set of haul came from Carl on my birthday in this box. This box contains in itself all goodness. I love that phrase, containing in itself all goodness. Look back to my previous videos, you'll see it. Sorry, thirsty. Right, so what did we get? So first off, we got some more Cosmo threads. Let's see if I can hold these without them being a disaster. So, lovely, lovely colours. So this is in addition to the ones you got me at Christmas, if you remember. There we go. Aye, that's fine. We're not having a fallout here. There's no disasters, no escaping leakages. Lovely, lovely colours. These Cosmos are gorgeous. I've made a start with the Cosmo threads on a piece by Stitchman Darcy, Yippee-ki-yay motherfucker. That well-known quote from Die Hard. That well-known Christmas film. And I will die on that hill fighting that battle, saying it's a Christmas film. And they're lovely to work with. They're cotton, but they really feel really, really nice. It's quite different from DMC, which I love DMC as well, don't get me wrong. But I do like bringing the changes. So where I can at the moment, I'm converting. So there was those. Very nice tissue paper. The boy's good. I don't know where he gets them from. He refuses to divulge his sources, so heaven only knows. Then we got some metallics, some lovely metallics. These are Vera Soie metallics, no less. So I've between this and Christmas, he tells me I now have the full range of them. So I'm not going to take them out, you can see them through the plastic. So we've got a set of ice blues in various shades. Gorgeous. A set of bronze, I think it is, Cuivre. Again, lovely kind of ombre effect there of them all. So these are going to be brilliant for things like the Bella Filipinas, anything that's using metallic threads. We then got the greens, forest greens. From light to dark. These are stunning. They're about the thickness of like a cranic or a treasure braid, so they'll be fine to swap in and out. And a gold set. Aren't they gorgeous? So I'm so pleased with those. I'm very lucky. So that was lovely to get when I opened the box up. And then there's a couple of other things lurking here. I'm not finished yet. The boy done good for me. What have we got? What was this one again? I think I need to open this. I can't remember what's in this now. Oh yes, these are wee... Oh, what are these? Filo Chinois. Is there a clue? Assortment of fil au chinois made in France since 1847. If my French translation is correct. And look at these. These are sparkly as well. I think these are like the Diamante CXC. They've got a bit of sparkle in them. So I would use those two-stranded. But again, beautiful colour. So these can be incorporated into my projects quite easily. There we go. So they were lovely to see. And then there was some Aversois 6 Shades of Neon. These are glorious. Would you look at these? Lovely bright colours. They will be getting used. So many things I could be doing with these. So these are Aversois Soie d'Alger, and it's silk. Neon coloured silk. Beautiful. So, Carl, I was over the moon. Not that he ever watches this, but he knows I was because I told him at length. So that was the haul. Very pleased with that. Couldn't believe it. I thought I was very, very lucky. I hope you enjoyed seeing that as much as I did when I opened the box. Right. So what's next? That's it. That's us come to the end. So plans will be I'll probably do a bit more of Van Morrison, see if I can bring that blue border along to the end. I might do a bit more of Rainbow Castle, I'm not sure yet. I need to pick up Amphitrite, my Bella Filipina piece, because last time I was working on her, I picked her up on Monday on my birthday just to do or try to do what I'm about to tell you. When I last worked on before that, I realised when I'd stitched all the sand along the bottom of the chart, if you know the chart, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, well, you'll see it next time when I show you. Along the bottom of it, there's a sand bank, and I'd stitched all that all the way along the width of the fabric, but the last section of it, my starting point was off by 1 square, and I thought, oh, fiddlesticks. So at that point, I took it all out because I thought, well, I can't put it away knowing that that's wrong. So I thought I'll never pick it up then, because the first thing I have to do is frog. And much as I hate frogging, if I'm going to do it, I'd rather do it at the end of a stitching session than at the start. Nothing pisses me off more than when I pick up a piece and the first thing I've got to do is rip stuff out. So that's all frogged. So what I need to do now is restitch it. And I was going to start that on Monday evening. Monday past. And I had it up in the frame and I was made a start and I thought, oh, I can't be bothered. So I got put back down. But I think I'll bite the bullet this week and just get that done, because at least then it's done and then I can continue on with the piece, because it's a gorgeous piece and I would like to see some more progress on it. So that's in my mind for this week. Although in saying all that, there'll be temperature stitching as well for whatever the temperature brings us. But I think there's also going to be some work we'll be doing some work out back in the garden. Carl will be painting, I'll be supervising, cleaning up after him, make sure he's fed and watered and all that good stuff. And then I'll just sit on my bench and Last week I went out with my fillet crochet. I've not got enough yet to show you, because at the moment it doesn't look like anything apart from squares and blocks filled in. But I'm hoping over the next 2 or 3 weeks, if I get more progress on it, I'll be able to have something that I can share with you and show you. You can tell me what you think. So on that was a lady called Kitty had contacted me when I mentioned before I was interested in it, and she showed me a tutorial on a piece she's doing. I think she was stitching one of Jacob's pieces from Modern Folk Embroidery. So I had one in my collection that was, I thought that can translate easily into this medium. So I've made a start on it and we'll see how it goes. Right, I'm rabbiting. We've reached an hour again. When I went weekly, I thought, I'm never going to last an hour in this. It's funny, I was watching Maureen last night, Stitchy Mac, her latest update, and she said, Maureen posts about every 3 or 4 weeks, and she gets through a phenomenal amount of stitching in that 3 or 4 week gap. And she was saying, I don't know if folk can spin these out for an hour. And I'm sitting listening saying, Hen, are you thinking I'm talking too much in my video? Wait till I see you soon. Well, we're going to have a wee word about this. I don't know, I just open my mouth and rabbit. It just all spills out. It's all good. I love my stitching, so I can talk about that all day long to anybody who listens. And unfortunately, you are willing listeners, captive audience, and all that. So on that note, I think that's it for today. Please do leave me a comment below. I hope the sound was okay. I'm really not quite sure what to do with that, apart from thinking about possibly getting a mic to attach to here. That's Carl's idea yesterday, and I said, no, I'm not a broadcaster. I've got a thing attached to my t-shirt. Thank you so much. However, we'll see. Hopefully the sound is okay. You can hear me. You might need to maybe turn up your audio settings a little bit. However, yeah, I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments. And again, let me know what you're stitching on. Always good to know what's been going on, what you're stitching on, what you're enjoying. And again, Instagram and email, I'm going to be contacted on. Happy to engage in conversations over those medium as well. And I think that's it. So I'll sign off and we'll speak again next week. Thanks everybody. Happy stitching. Bye.